So what we're going to do is we're first going to look at the tools that we're going to use. And Visual Studio is one of the best tools that we can use for CAP planning because it has the ability for us to do tests that's going to hit the SharePoint environment. It has the ability for us to do security mechanisms so we can bring in user accounts and Active Directory people so that we can test against that. It has the ability for us to do data source mining so that we can say to the capacity planning tests that, let's say, for example, we want to go and import 5,000 users from our Active Directory through a CSV file, use it as a data source, and hammer our SharePoint environment using those accounts. We're actually going to show you a demo of doing something similar to that, where we're going to use a CSV file used for search query terms and start using that as a data source to do capacity planning against it. And so that's one of the tools that we're going to primarily use. But there are other tools out there that you can use for capacity planning to help you. Things like Fiddler. How many people here have used Fiddler as an IT pro? Fantastic, everybody. We all know the use of that tool, right? The tool to be able to tell us what's actually going on from a client connectivity perspective into the servers. One of the things that a lot of people don't realise about Fiddler is that it has the capability to export what it's found into a Visual Studio web test. So we can take Fiddler, use what the client is seeing, and then export that result set into the test that we're going to build for SharePoint performance. And so these little tools we're also going to fire up and show you a bit about it. Which Ben's doing now. See, this works really well, Ben, doesn't it? I like this bit. I like this. I can just keep talking and you just keep doing. And yes, it does work well as well. Ping. Actually, one of the first things we never do, very often, when we've got performance and capacity planning issues, is think of the infrastructure. All too often we think it's SharePoint. The first thing we should always do when we're troubleshooting performance of SharePoint is not assume it's SharePoint. How many people in the audience, for example, have got environments where you've still got hardware that's more than 2 years old on the clients? 2 years old, right, more than 2 years old. We think that's pretty relative, right? You know, it's fairly new, 2 years old. How many people on a 2-year-old machine have tried to install Windows 7, put all the latest Office tools and various other components, and then found the client to be quite slow? How many times has that happened? Hands up. Right. So, is the problem for capacity and performance of the page loading actually a client issue, not a server issue? We must consider those as part of our performance planning thought process. Can we connect to the servers? What's the route that connectivity is taking when we ping it, when we do a trace route or a path ping? Path ping's really cool. How many people know path ping? Okay, we're slowly getting the hands down. Great. So we've got a few people who know that. So in the command prompt, there's a tool called path ping, one word. And path ping is really good because not only does it ping the remote server, but if there's multiple routes and hops, it will actually calculate what package loss it took whilst it goes through each route. No, that's path ping. Path ping will do both. It will ping it and tell you the packet loss as it routes there. Trace route will just show you how it got there through the route mechanism, right? So, should we bring the slides up, Ben, just so go through what we're actually going to cover here? I know you got them on that machine. Okay. Oh. Sorry, you have to press the Z button. So let's have a look at the farm architecture. Should we go through that one, and then we'll look at the capacity planning itself, and then we'll do some testing tools. So here we go. This is what we've currently kind of looking at, isn't it? This is what we've got in our environment. This is what we've built so far. It kind of looks quite scary when you look at it like that, doesn't it? This is what we are at. This is what our little server rack's buzzing away with. So we've got our various clients. We've got our domain controller, our mail server. We've got SQL mirrored. We've got our 2 SQL mirror instances. We've got Server 01. Now, Server 01 is what we're going to use as our Visual Studio testing box. That's going to be our primary machine that's going to drive the testing tools. We've then got Server 02 and Server 03, which are there for Spence and Kimo's session on the cloud stuff later. That's going to be very cool, by the way, assuming it all works. Because obviously that's all cloud. We're hopefully... shall I spoil their thunder? We are literally going to try and do it live to the cloud today.